Hello, athletes. Welcome and thank you for tuning into the Coach Katie Danger podcast, recorded live from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm your host, Coach Katie Danger, U.S. Army veteran, fitness coach, and founder of Red H Nutrition. Here's a fact for you. 99% of us are not elite athletes. We're individuals from all backgrounds, juggling life's priorities, including jobs, our families, their needs, and trying to find time to take care of ourselves. Every single week when you tune in, I'll be discussing clear, concise, and actionable strategies you can use to get the most from your fitness, nutrition, and mindset so you can optimize your life without compromising your time. So athletes, settle in and get comfortable. I'm here to educate, inspire, empower, and entertain you to help you enjoy the unique fitness journey that you are on. Hey athletes, how is everyone doing today? Welcome to episode number 57 of the podcast, and today we're gonna have a little chat about the crimes we commit against our guts. Now, as I've wandered through my own personal health journey, a lot of the information I've come across has to do with healing the gut, cleaning the gut, fortifying the gut. And it seems no matter what I wanna do, whether I wanna lose weight, get strong, build muscle, fight off a sickness, it all comes down to what we put in our mouths and how it affects our gut biome. And I've mentioned before, I've been in this journey for almost 18 years now, and I've learned a lot. And I've always kind of known that our guts are responsible for a lot of the physiological processes in our bodies. But it wasn't until last November where I had a huge eye-opening experience as to what happens, personally, when I treat my gut like hot garbage. Now, I might have talked about this before. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but it's a really good intro and then segue into this whole topic of our gut microbiome. So shortly before the holidays of 2020, I don't know what triggered it, but I just started eating a lot more sugar. It just, might have been holiday stress, but I was eating refined sugars. I got slightly addicted to watermelon Red Bulls. I was eating pastries and toaster strudels, and pretty much every single day I was treating myself to something that I thought I deserved. And I really don't know how it got to be such a slippery slope, but eventually I started having some really uncommon physical issues, things that I didn't normally have to deal with. It was things like a chronic yeast infection, my period was off, my cycle was off, I was bloated, my skin was really broken out. It was terrible. My sleep was off. So I had to get real with myself. I knew that something was wrong, but I didn't think anything was really, really wrong. Like serious medical issue, got to go to the doctor and talk to somebody. So I decided to take a step back, be real with myself, and I started to track my food for a few days to see what was up. And it really didn't take long until that whole mantra of we are what we eat started to become very, very clear to me. It wasn't difficult to find out that I was stuffing myself with sugar, artificial crap that I just shouldn't be eating. And I got a little frustrated with myself because I know better. I know better than to do these things. I know better than to eat these things on a regular basis. But hey, here I was experiencing these things. I got real with myself. And instead of, wallowing in self-pity, I decided to come up with a plan. So I focused heavily on my gut health. No more sugar. I was going to eat more vegetables. I was going to eat more fiber. And if I did have a sugar craving, I just decided I was going to eat an apple instead. I didn't do anything really drastic. I just ate better food. I cut out the things that weren't contributing to my health, didn't drink any more Red Bulls, and I drank more water. I did add a few supplements to my routine to help with hormone regulation and get my cycle back on track. And in about 8 weeks, I found myself back to where I was before I started experiencing all that crap that the bad food choices were causing. Now my skin is clear. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can see my skin is clear. I've done some Instagram posts on how gut health has affected my skin. And my cycle is predictable now, and I've got the daily energy that I like to enjoy. And for me, it was really, really simple. It was don't commit any serious crimes against my gut. And I'm telling you, if you eat like an asshole, it's committing a crime against your gut. It matters what you eat, and you cannot escape a bad diet. You just can't. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're at listening. I don't care what age you are. Eventually, a bad diet will catch up to you. Now, my passion behind gut health is because I think that the genesis of most diseases in our lives and sicknesses that we have in modern society are contributed to what we eat. And although this book, so I decided to grab a book off my bookshelf, and it was written 20 years ago now, which is shocking. It was written in 2001. I finally started reading Fast Food Nation. And you guys, oh my God, the information in this book, it's as sad and as relevant as it was 20 years ago. And unfortunately, probably more sad and more relevant today than it was 20 years ago, because fast food has literally changed the entire landscape of the way that we eat. We know that it has fueled an epidemic of obesity, adult onset illnesses like diabetes, specific cancers. And in addition to that, there's evidence that it has fueled the disparity between the rich and the poor, which we'll talk about in another podcast. But All of these things is what fast food has brought us to today. Fast food is not food. And I'm not talking about salads and things like that. I'm talking about the fast food, your McDonald's, your BK, your Wendy's, your Popeyes. You know what I'm talking about when I talk about fast food. And I'm halfway through the book right now. I'm halfway through Fast Food Nation. And it definitely backs up what I've already known for years about my own health journey, is that we are what we eat. Taking the time and investment to be smarter about the food you eat and where it comes from, it can add years, if not decades to your life. And I want to talk about what goes on behind the scenes in our gut that keeps us well or keeps us sick. And it starts with how we treat our gut bacteria. Yes, you heard that correctly. I'm talking about bacteria. And the type of bacteria that we have in our gut either helps us or hurts us. And I could save this revelation for the end of the podcast, but there's really no point because I'm sure you already put this all together. Fast food, refined sugars, they all feed the bad gut bacteria. And all that terrible food, it comes at a cost to our health. And it comes at a cost of our ability to digest food, regulate hormones, and how immune we are to illnesses. So bacteria. The single word bacteria probably brings a lot of things to your mind, such as like unsavory microbes, dirty, filthy conditions. But bacteria, the good bacteria I'm talking about, it's all necessary and it's beneficial components to our daily life. They play a vital part in our performance, our cognitive function, weight, mood, and overall health. And in fact, you might be surprised to learn that there are trillions of gut bacteria. There's trillions of bacteria in our gut. Like right now, as you're listening to this, as I'm talking to you, trillions of gut bacteria, each with its own unique purpose in helping us either be our best or perhaps be at our worst. And I want this podcast to help educate you on how you can be your best and promote good food hygiene practices, good food choices, and how you can really proliferate the good bacteria and keep out all that bad, unwanted bad bacteria. Now, a great focus, especially in the most recent years, within the past 5 years, a lot of research, a lot of money has been put behind microbiome research and the gut bacteria that we have. So this podcast episode, this episode number 57, it's essentially going to be a primer for you on the human microbiome and the 3 critical reasons you need to pay mind to the gut bacteria in your body. But first, I want to start with a little 8th grade science reminder. What is gut bacteria? Well, bacteria are single-cell microorganisms that have cell walls, and they lack organelles and an organized nucleus. They can be found everywhere, including inside our body. In fact, current estimates indicate there are more gut bacteria in your body than there are human cells in your body. So there's more actual bacteria in our body than there are cells in our body. And not all bacteria is good, as I've said before. Some are bad, some are good, and not all bacteria is the same. The human gut alone contains hundreds, if not thousands, of different strains of bacteria, which are needed to carry out various physiological processes that make us human. For example, gut bacteria are involved in the synthesis of certain vitamins, so the breakdown, the usage of certain vitamins like vitamin K. They also serve vital roles in the proper functioning of our immune system, which is how our body fights off infection and keeps us well. The bacteria in our gut also affects how food is digested and it impacts signals and hormones that are released following mealtime. So based on this, the composition and health of someone's microbiome can essentially affect your weight. How optimal is your body composition? So the first thing you need to know is that gut bacteria affects digestion. And since bacteria populate our GI tract, our gastrointestinal tract, they come in contact with the food that we eat during meal times. Now, the types and quantities of food that we eat also have a significant impact on the composition of our microbiome. And in case you weren't aware, gut bacteria, they use fiber in the food we eat as its own source of nutrition. Consuming too little fiber can starve the good bacteria in your gut, which not only disrupts the entire makeup and health of your gut microbiome, but it could have several unwanted downstream secondary effects since our gut bacteria, they produce a very important short-chain fatty acid known as butyrate. And butyrate serves as a primary source of energy for cells that line our colon. And research has shown that butyrate offers 3 important health functions, very, very important health functions: boosts your metabolism, lowers inflammation, and improves our resistance to stress. Now, all 3 of those things sound really awesome, right? Like, wouldn't it be great if we had a higher metabolism? Wouldn't it be great if we had less inflammation in our body? And wouldn't it be awesome if we were more resistant to stress? So this makes fiber, the intake of fiber, and obviously getting butyrate-rich foods in our body a priority if you want to promote gut health or even rebuild a gut microbiome that might be run down from illness, sickness, a foodborne illness, or even use of antibiotics for another health issue. Research has also found that there's a really strong association between individuals who have low gut bacteria diversity. So when I talked about how many gut bacteria are in our bodies right now, there's a lot of them. It's very diverse. But there is a strong link between people who have low diversity and people who have higher body weights. So what that's saying is, if you want to manage your weight, if you're on a weight loss journey specifically, make sure that you're eating fiber-rich foods. Make sure that you are eating foods that promote a rich, diverse gut microbiome. Other research in animals, this is really, really interesting. So they've done research in animals. They've taken and they've really just destroyed the guts of animals. And then what they've done is they've taken healthy individuals, they've taken unhealthy individuals. Generally, we're talking about BMI and obesity. So they've taken obese individuals and people who have healthy BMIs. They take the gut biomes of these people and they will inject them in mice. And what they found is the mice that get the gut microbiomes from the unhealthy individuals, the already obese individuals, end up having higher weight gains and higher issues of stress and microbiome issues than the mice that receive the good gut bacteria. So it's very, very clear that the makeup of your gut microbiome will affect your ability to digest food. It will affect the ability of you to either gain or lose weight. So if you're trying to lose weight, pay very, very close attention to what your gut microbiome is and stop eating foods that contribute to the degradation of your gut microbiome. So we know that gut bacteria affects digestion, but it also affects our hunger and how satisfied we are after we eat. Comes down to the endocrine system. And the endocrine system is a collection of glands in the body that regulates the release of chemical messengers, hormones in the body. And what you eat has a direct impact on which hormones are released following a meal, as well as how much of those hormones are released. A few of these heavy hitter hormones, a few ones that you need to know that affect our hunger, weight loss, and our satisfaction from food that we eat. Ghrelin. Ghrelin is a hunger hormone. And then there's satiety hormones, ones that, how satisfied we are after we eat, so we don't constantly want to keep eating food. Leptin and this peptide called PYY. Research notes that the different gut bacteria can affect how these hormones are secreted during mealtime, as well as whether you feel full or still hungry after eating. Now, I mentioned before that the gut bacteria produce an important number of molecules in fermentation called butyrate, right? So fiber-rich foods, they ferment, they produce butyrate. But another important chemical messenger generated from fiber fermentation is called propionate. Now, research has found that in overweight adults found that they consumed 10 grams of propionate in the form of inulin. Inulin is a supplement that you can find. It's a fiber-rich supplement. For 24 weeks, they significantly increased their levels of hormones which impacted hunger. And furthermore, the group that took 10 grams of this propionate in the form of inulin, they also consume less food and they decrease their weight gain significantly. So what we're finding here is that healthy gut bacteria also helps with our regulation of how full we feel, how satisfied we are after a meal, and then how likely we are to overeat or not overeat. So gut bacteria, obviously very, very important for digestion, very, very important for the amount of food that we eat and how satisfied we are after we eat. The third thing that you need to know about gut bacteria is how it affects our immune function. Now, the immune system is tasked with fighting infection and keeping the body healthy and happy. We're talking about infection, inflammation, and illness. It can have many causes, but one of the main causes is that people don't take into consideration is diet. What you eat on a daily basis has a profound impact in regards to how well or how not well you're able to stave off illnesses, or if you do get sick, how long that illness can last. For instance, if you are wolfing down a diet high in processed fat, sugar, and calories that are known to be inflammatory, I'm really not sure what that was, so I apologize. Anyways, so if you have a diet that is high in processed fat and sugar and calories and it's known to be inflammatory, you're going to have unwanted weight gain. You're going to be puffy and you're going to be bloated. And more than likely, it's going to play a really, really big role in how sick or not sick you are throughout your life.
Hey, I know and you know that I talk a lot about using supplements on your fitness journey and reaching your full potential. How I believe they're integral pieces of the puzzle to reaching your best self and best fitness results. But do you know how supplements fit into your plan? Do you know what to take for your goals and how much of a supplement you should take? If you've ever had any of those questions and you want to know how supplements can work for you and your goals, go to yourfitnesssupplements.com and take the free 3-point personalized supplement assessment. And with just a few questions, You'll have a complete, personalized supplement recommendation in less than 60 seconds. You'll know more about how supplements fit into your fitness goals, what's safe, and what's effective and perfect for you. So type in yourfitnesssupplements.com in your internet browser, take the free assessment, and get on the fast track to your best fitness results.
For example, let's talk about there's certain gut bacteria that produces compounds known as lipopolysaccharides, and they're known very directly to cause inflammation. It can lead to insulin resistance and weight gain. You'll find them in a lot of research and literature as LPS, lipopolysaccharides. LPS is the acronym. They contain endotoxins, and these endotoxins contribute to fevers, lower white blood cell count, and they also reduce blood pressure. These are all really, really big negatives when it comes to living your best life. Now, I want you to remember that a diet can also promote good gut bacteria. So all we've talked about here is all these negatives, right? Like all this bacteria, all this food that we eat can contribute to bad bacteria. But the great part is you have control. You have complete control over this. You have control over whether you have more good bacteria or bad gut bacteria. Two good examples of good bacteria that you should know about is bifidobacteria and Akkermansia. Okay, these are big words. I know, some sciencey stuff here. But what you got to know is you do have control over the good versus the bad. Animal studies indicate that when you consume prebiotic fibers that help increase bifidobacteria, they can help combat weight gain, promote insulin regulation, and they don't affect the number of calories consumed. So while much is made of the importance of the gut bacteria in supporting optimal body composition and weight, it's also really, really important to know that you guys, this is just scratching the surface in terms of what we know. There's so much more that we are going to learn over the next coming years about how our gut bacteria affects our overall health. I did a podcast a while back that talks about the gut-brain connection and how well our cognitive function, how focused we are during the day, how much energy we have during the day comes from, how well our guts are functioning. And I've talked about how bad bacteria can affect our health, but there are some really, really good things that you can do and put into your body to help promote the good bacteria. Even today, things like eating yogurt, sauerkraut, kombucha, those are natural ways that you can improve your gut microbiome too. And also, you should consider taking a daily probiotic supplement to help support your gut's microbiome. When you supplement with the right probiotic, one that contains the right strains of bacteria, it can have a really big impact on your improvement, your digestion, your weight gain, your energy, performance, sleep, hormones. Essentially, your entire body's physiology can be properly regulated by having the good gut bacteria in your body. I don't like to call anything a miracle supplement. I think everything takes work. Everything starts with the foundation of good food. But if we're talking about combating a typical American diet and getting you back to where you want to be in terms of all those things I talked about, performance, sleep, hormones, digestion, weight, energy, getting yourself a good probiotic can do wonders for you. And another reason to supplement with a probiotic is it could help support any changes in your normal routine. Think about this. When you travel, have you ever gotten sick before after you've traveled, or you've been on an airplane, or you've been on a cruise? This happens to a lot of people, especially if you take an antibiotic. Well, what a probiotic can do, it can help keep your gut fortified. So any side effects, any secondary effects on other systems are kept at a minimal. And now listen, you guys, I don't want to be a Buzz Killington here. I love my juicy hamburgers. I love Wendy's. I love Chick-fil-A, but it's really been a long time since I've indulged and allowed myself to eat fast food, because the more you know, the less likely you are to continue to make those decisions. I've indulged every now and then, but it's really hard to, because I know what it does to me. It just doesn't seem like a fair trade-off anymore. Even on those days where I think I deserve a cheat, I've worked out really hard, or maybe at the end of a competition, I've allowed myself some wiggle room in the quality of the food intake, but it's really, really hard anymore to continue to make those decisions, because I know that it's, I've made all these steps forward in my health, and I'm just taking steps back when I intake food that destroys my gut. And I've had so many athletes tell me that they've got an iron gut. They can eat anything they want and it won't do them any harm. Well, that's a nice story. It's a nice story they're trying to tell themselves. But the truth is, you can't outrun a bad diet. You can't outrun your gut microbiome. Eventually, it will affect us. And sometimes it doesn't affect some of us until later in life. But when it does, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. And at that point, it could be too late to mitigate the damage that's already been done below the surface. And I really want you to heed this advice. This episode is really, really important to me. I think that if more people took a personal responsibility in the food they ate and practiced 80-20, 80% of the time you're eating the right things, 20% of the time, you're enjoying the best that life has to offer. So 80-20, I think we'd all be healthy, happier, and far more fit and productive than we are. There is no escaping it. We are what we eat. We are what we eat. I had a friend in high school and she didn't eat very well. She was smoking when we were 15 years old. You don't want to really be preachy when you're a 15-year-old kid. You want to fit in, at least where I'm from. I went to a Catholic high school. Life was hard enough trying to fit in. But I do remember telling her that smoking was bad and it was probably going to end up killing her someday. And what she responded with is something I hear quite often when people are like, I'll take care of it when I have to. And she said that she at least wants to enjoy her life while she's alive. So apparently, smoking was a way that she enjoyed her life. A lot of people eat crap foods because they find it very enjoyable and it is an escape from the other things that are going on in their life. And I guess I understand it. Living hard and fast can be fun, but we really only get one body. We only get one chance at this. So I don't know why you would knowingly fill yourself with things that could contribute to your untimely demise. In fact, you probably just won't die one day. You're not going to just die from one cigarette. You're not just going to die from one hamburger, right? It's those choices over time that add up and accumulate and finally do us in and potentially get us to a point where we can't mitigate that damage anymore. There's no reason that you can't give your body better, and everybody's body deserves better. So next time, instead of fast food, maybe get a salad. Make tacos at home. Grill your own burgers. Make your own pizza. You don't have to give up the foods you love. But what I've found is if you just put a little bit more TLC into the foods that you do love, maybe making them at home yourself, knowing all the ingredients that go into it, removing the processing and the preservatives that get put into fast food, you're simply making a better choice. You still get your pizza. You still have your cake and eat it too. You're just choosing a different way to get from point A to point B, right? So instead of driving through McDonald's, getting that juicy hamburger, you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to make my own hamburger. I'm going to put my own seasoning in it. I'm going to grill it on my own grill, and you're going to make your own. And it's going to be a lot better for you. I never want to tell anyone to eliminate something completely because elimination diets just don't work for anybody. But you can do better for yourself. You can eat better and add more years to your life. And none of us know when our last day is, but I can assure you that if you put good fuel into your body, you're going to get better results from it. You want more energy, you want clear skin, you want to lose weight, you want to gain more muscle, you want to improve your digestion, you're sick and tired of being bloated, you want to have better performance times in your workouts, eat better food, make better food choices. It really is that simple. And every body deserves to fuel themselves with fresh, wholesome food that promotes a healthy gut microbiome and improves our chances of a long, awesome life. I have a really good analogy I came up with when I was writing this episode, and I want to sum up this entire episode with this analogy. So here it goes. You've got two families. They bought some land together to build their dream homes. One family wanted to build their home on the side of a hill, the side of the bluff. It has an amazing view. Architecturally, it's stunning, right? It's on the side. You can see it from the road when you drive by. It's just absolutely beautiful. But the builders, they warned them that the foundation was always going to be a concern and that someday, without a doubt, their house was going to start to crumble and fall down a hill because the foundation just wasn't started the best, right? They started to build their house on a hill. Eventually, there's going to be wear and tear and that house is going to crumble, but they didn't care. They wanted this stunning home. This is what they wanted, and this is how they were going to build it. Now, the other family was a bit more modest about their approach. They knew that building a strong foundation was the most important to them, so they decided to build on the prairie. It wasn't really a stunning home. It was flat land, but you know what they knew? They knew that the foundation was solid, and they were confident that it would withstand any type of weather, any type of ecological event that Mother Nature would have in store over the years. I mean, both of these houses, these family planned this is where they were going to spend the majority of the rest of their lives. This is where they were going to raise their kids at. This is the foundation they chose to build the rest of their lives on. And less than 20 years later, you can probably guess what happened. The once awe-inspiring house that was an architectural beauty built on the side of a home, it started to crumble. And the other family, who took a more modest approach and built on the flat land, their house was still in impeccable shape. The basement in the beautiful house on the bluff, it started to crumble. They couldn't even go in it because they never knew if today was the day it was actually going to slide down a hill. Every rainstorm that happened, they had to keep their fingers crossed that it wasn't going to be the day that their house slid down the hill. Now, which family would you rather be? Would you rather be the family that had 20 years of an awesome home and then eventually started to worry that maybe their house might start to crumble? Or would you rather be the family that took the more modest approach, did the right thing, thought about their future, and didn't have any sort of worries? The cool thing is that as humans, we're given this unique cognitive ability to think about our future and plan decisions that will affect our futures. And this comes down to, what foundation are you going to choose? How will you eat to impact your future? Will you build a strong foundation, or will you live hard and fast and deal with the consequences later? Personally, I'm the type of person that is going to make the good choices now so I can enjoy my life for the rest of my life. However many years I've got left, I'm not going to have to worry about my foundation crumbling because I've made smart choices that will impact my future positively. Now, if you want to take action today with the information I've shared, with all three of these things that we've talked about how the gut bacteria affects your digestion, it affects our hunger and how satisfied we are after we eat so we don't overeat, and also affects our immune function for good or for bad. If you want to take action today, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start taking a probiotic. And if you're not already taking one, I'm going to point you to Red H Nutrition's Adaptogenic Probiotic. I formulated it myself. I worked with Red H Nutrition to come up with this. And it's formulated with the 3 most abundant gut bacteria. The 3 strains of gut bacteria that are most abundant in a healthy gut. If you need a place to start, if you need a good foundation to start, this is what I want you to start with. I've got the bottle right here, and I'm going to talk about the 3 most important ingredients. The 3 most important gut bacteria are Bifidobacterium bifidum. Okay, we're getting into some sciencey words here. Just stick with me. Bifidobacterium bifidum, Lactobacillus acidophilus, or L. acidophilus, and then Lactobacillus casei. All 3 of these are the 3 most abundant gut bacteria. They are the foundations of how a good gut operates. And if you have any place to start, anywhere you want to start a good foundation, it's with these 3. Now, Lactobacillus casei is really important because it promotes the enzyme amylase, which helps with glycogen breakdown and pancreatic function. Insulin resistance. This is what you want to talk about. If you want insulin regulation, and if you want to promote good insulin function, good pancreatic function, Lactobacillus casei, the adaptogenic probiotic from Red H Nutrition, you can't go wrong with it. The bottom line is this, you guys, athletes, you got to stop committing crimes against your gut. When you eat crap food, you're doing much more harm than good. So head on over to redhnutrition.com, grab your own bottle of adaptogenic probiotic, and you can use the code podcast20 and you can save 20% on your very first bottle. If you haven't already, Coach Katie Danger, that coupon code Coach Katie Danger, it'll give you 30% off of your first order. So redhnutrition.com, grab a bottle of adaptogenic probiotic, promote your digestion, promote the immunity, build that positive foundation of gut health so you can do more and be more and just simply get more from every single day of your life. Athletes, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really, really passionate about gut health. I believe it is the genesis for our health, and we can have a lot of impact in how we direct our health and wellness. I think one of the greatest things about gut health is that we have complete control over what we put in our mouths, and we can do so much to help fortify our guts and add more positive, impactful years to our life. Now, next week, I'm also really excited to share that I'm actually going to be doing a guest podcast. I'm going to bring some guests with me. I'm heading to Perspire Sauna Studio for episode number 58 in Omaha, and I'm going to be sitting down with owners Ashley and Nate of Perspire Sauna Studio, and we're going to be talking about infrared saunas and how they're more than just a fad in the performance and recovery scene of fitness. Personally, I use a sauna once a week. I sit for 40 minutes and I just sweat it out. And what the infrared sauna does, it helps with my recovery after a long week of training. It helps me stay on track, helps detoxify my body. So if you're interested in heat and infrared sauna therapy, if you've heard anything about that, or if you just like learning about new things and how you can add new little pieces to your puzzle to improve your fitness and performance, you got to tune into episode number 58 next week. I'm going to be sitting down with Nate and Ashley of Perspire Sauna Studio, and we're going to learn all about infrared sauna technology and how it can help you with your fitness routine. But in the meantime, athletes, thank you for spending time with me for episode number 57. Stop committing crimes against your gut, and we will chat next week. As always, this is Coach Katie Danger. Have a fantastic week. Over and out.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.